Welcome back to my series covering the Freedom Constitution, also named the Constitution of the Freedom Founders of the United States of America. In this video clip, we'll be covering Article 1, Section 6. All bills for raising the revenue shall originate in the House of Representatives and must be approved by the intercedent, but the Senate may propose or concur with amendments as on other bills. So what this very first clause right out of the gate is saying that the budget is the responsibility of the House of Representatives, but the Senate may make amendments or they may agree to amendments already made by the House of Representatives, and the budget has to be approved by the intercedent. Every bill, order, resolution, or vote which shall have passed the House of Representatives and the Senate must be placed into a 180-day hold during which the intercedent will petition every voting district for approval. So what this is saying is when the Congress does something, almost anything, they have to put whatever they just did on hold for 180 days before they can implement it and ask the intercedent to approve that thing before it can be implemented. And for the intercedent to approve it, the intercedent has to petition the voting districts of the United States of America to ask the voters if this is something that the United States of America and their citizens actually wants and needs. After each voting district has granted approval or overturned the representatives' support of the bill, the Senate will deliver the bill to the President of the United States for final review. Now we see that once the intercedent petitions the voting districts of the United States to see whether or not this thing should be made into law or passed, the voting districts can either say yes, we agree with this, or they can send back a note saying, no, the representative we elected to Congress got it wrong, change their vote. Then once all the votes are tallied, the president gets the bill if there's enough support for it. And then the president can sign it into law. If the President of the United States approves the bill, it will be signed into law within 15 days of receipt. So now we see here that if there's a bill placed on the president's desk and the president has no problems with it, he has to sign it into law within 15 days of receiving that bill. If the President of the United States does not approve of the bill, it will be returned to the Senate with the reasons for rejection documented on the Senate's journal. So the president can't just let that bill sit on his desk. If he doesn't, or she, we may have a female president very shortly, if he or she doesn't like the bill, the president will return it to the Senate and say, here are the reasons why I am returning it. And the Senate will record those reasons in the official journal of the Senate. The Senate will vote to revise the bill or adopt it into law within 90 days of receipt. If less than 5/8 of the quorum vote to adopt the bill into law, revisions are required within 180 days. If 5/8 or more of the Senate vote to adopt it into law or revisions have been finalized, the bill will be delivered to the House of Representatives. Upon receipt, the House of Representatives will vote to adopt the revised bill into law within 90 days of receipt. If less than 5/8 of the quorum of the House of Representatives vote to adopt the bill into law, the bill must be revised. Once 5/8 of the House of Representatives quorum votes to adopt the bill into law, with or without revisions, both the Senate and the House of Representatives will convene a negotiation committee to reconcile grievances. So what this is saying is that once the Senate gets it, they have 90 days to decide whether or not to revise it or keep it the same. If they vote to revise it, they have 180 days to make the revisions and pass it to the House of Representatives. Once it gets to the House of Representatives has 90 days to decide whether to keep it the same or to revise it. And if they vote to revise it, they have 180 days to revise it. Once both houses have had their opportunities, then they convene a quorum to settle any differences between their revisions. If both the Senate and the House of Representatives achieve a 5/8 vote of their respective quorums to adopt the bill into law without revisions requested by the President of the United States, the bill will be adopted into law with no further actions. So even if the President of the United States doesn't agree with the law, if 5/8 of both houses of Congress agree to adopt it into law without revision, it becomes the law. And the reason this is because the voters of the United States at this point have already said they believe this law is both needed and beneficial to the United States, as proven by the intercedent receiving plurality of votes from all the voting districts in the United States. The negotiations will conclude within 120 days of forming the negotiation committee. So if there are changes to the bill and the negotiation committee is formed because both houses or one of the houses have made changes to the bill, they can't just let that sit there forever. They have 120 days to come up with the final draft of the revised bill. Once the negotiations have been successfully resolved, the bill will be forwarded to the intercedent for final approval. The intercedent will have 270 days to hold a vote in every congressional district. If the negotiations were successful, the bill will be presented with the option for each district to adopt, return, or reject the bill. If the bill is adopted, it will become law within 120 days. If the bill is rejected, it will be removed from the Senate and the House of Representatives with no ability to recall the bill for further work. If the bill is returned, the intercedent will return the bill with objections documented in the Senate's journal to the committee formed by the Senate, and the House of Representatives will accept the bill and negotiate changes that will meet the requirements of the intercedent, then return the bill to the intercedent for a revote in all congressional districts with 270 days of receipt of the committee. All votes in the Senate of the House of Representatives and the intercedent shall be entered into the respective journals and shall contain the yeas, nays, and present vote for every member present when the quorum casts votes for any purpose. That was a long section. What it's saying basically is once that committee that negotiates changes to the bill or revisions to the bill passes it to the intercedent has to ask the American people whether or not this revised bill is something they want and need. If the American people say they're no longer interested in the bill, they can say throw it away. If they want the bill as revised, they can say, great, it looks good in the revised form, let's pass it through. Or they can say, go back and try again. And you did good work, but it's not quite there. Congress, you need to fix it. If they say throw it away, Congress is no longer allowed to do anything with that bill. It has to be thrown away. It can't be brought up at a later date. If they say revise it, then they have a certain timeline to revise it and represent it to the people of the United States, and the people of the United States can say, great, looks good, let's adopt it, or throw it away, never to be seen again. I know this section was a little bit more technical and kind of got into the weeds about how bills are created or what legislative actions look like under this potential constitution. And again, these are the core principles of the Freedom Founders. This is not about replacing the current Constitution with this Constitution. This is about the Freedom Founders showing how they believe the government should work for the people and the core beliefs that they believe should be brought into the government, and making sure that the government works for the people and the people don't just work for the government. So if you like going through this Constitution or you like what the Freedom Founders are doing, please subscribe or share this content, and I hope to see you on the next video.